Hey guys, it's Chris, and welcome to the Toned and Toneful video podcast, episode number 45, where I've been and what I've learned. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about my break from Toned and Toneful as a consistent week-to-week recording into a small hiatus that has now led to be about 3 months, and it has been a really big learning curve in my life, a big learning session in my life, and a very big point of personal reflection. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that before we continue on to the usual Toned and Toneful episodes where we talk about a particular subject matter. This one's going to be focused a little more on my life lessons from the past few months. So Toned and Toneful was rolling really strong from July 2022 through April 2023, where I got to the point that I had a little bit of a dental problem that had gotten out of hand. I had tried a lot of methods on working on it without having to try to see if I could get a particular tooth removed and things like that. But over time, my efforts were futile and I had to get the tooth taken out, and that ended up being the best for my health. As you guys know, health is very important to me, and Toned and Toneful, one of the things that I really try to stress and one of the things I really try to speak about is health. So for me, mentally, wanting to be someone who had my own health in line before I speak on any health is always something that matters a lot to my conscience and what I speak on. I want to be talking to you guys always from a point of either truth or understanding of what's going on in my life. Long story short, I had a root canal crack and just wasn't able to stave off, a lot of the pain and the eventual abscess that came from that. So that got dealt with. Luckily for me, it's not one of my front teeth, so I was able to live through that pretty easily. So dealing with this problem led to a few things. One, as I was dealing with this problem, recording music got harder and harder because of the nature of wearing headphones and it pressing on the side of my jaw and things like that. So it was becoming a little bit of a situation. Another thing that was happening was I was living in a very unhealthy household as far as roommates and people I could get along with. Since I speak on being part of a tribe so much, one of the big things to me, again, just like if I were to speak on health, the same thing would apply to speaking on finding your tribe and being around the people you need to be around. I had moved into a home where I was a roommate for a very long time, for 3 years specifically from 2020 to 2023, and had primarily lived there with a roommate who I got along with really well, who was a mathematical and mechanical engineer, and he was just really great to be around. And over time, we had some different people move into the home that really didn't make a difference in the vibe. I was able to play music all the time, do my my physical fitness routines and working out and working towards that toned body. But it got to a point where I wasn't able to actually do much musically and do much with Toned and Toneful once a certain roommate moved in. They were very, they're one of those people who they need to control their environment, and I never live under someone else's control in that particular method. I don't mind getting along with somebody. I don't mind meeting someone halfway on things. But if someone takes complete control of something, I'm out. And I'm of the personal opinion that if someone tries to take control of anybody, we should be out, because the real part of life that we get to own is our own personality, and we get to own the path that we're going to be on. Now, we might not be right about everything on that path, or we might not see from the same point of view as everybody with how we want to express ourselves or how we want to do things. But the most important thing is that you do it in an authentic manner to yourself. And if that doesn't hurt other people, if that's something that you're able to do without it, bleeding into other people's lives or becoming a thing where other people are affected by your choices, then I think that you should have full reign over those feelings. And you should be able to do that how you want. But again, the word should and the word that will you do or could you, they're all very different. But in the long run, I feel that people have that right. So let's just say on a broad spectrum, I do believe people have the right to be who they are as long as it's not affecting other people. So to tie back in, this roommate ended up becoming very much a person that I couldn't live with, and I needed to move out. And so what I did was the first week off of Toned and Toneful, I had a friend named Alec visiting. I call him Chris Johnson, and that's his handle on Instagram. I'll put a link to him. He's an amazing guitar player. But anyway, so he is just, hanging out with me, and we're talking and we're hanging out, and it's the week before I actually get my tooth extracted. So, I spent time and had fun and tried to relax my body. And I noticed that a lot of the symptoms I was dealing with had gone down because some of it does come from stress. So remember, guys, and I'll speak on stress after a little bit later in today's video when we're talking about things that I've learned. But long story short is I got out of that house and I moved to a new place that is actually not too far away, a few miles away. And I'm in an in-law unit that I have my own space. And I have my own area where I can work on things, and I don't have any walls touching anybody, so I can really crank up on the guitar and enjoy the tones off the tube amp that I have sitting next to me on my left. Over here I have a Marshall, kind of like it's right under the little picture that you see there that's kind of green. And so the setup's a little bit different. It's I missed the peach colored room. That room was kind of cool with that peach color, but we got to make do with the new place that we're in, and I've been really enjoying being able to work on music and being able to bring ideas forward and into fruition without having any interruptions. So that's been a really big bonus in my life. So, with time comes understanding, and with understanding of what you need, you can get more done. It's part of why self-reflection is so important. And I know I speak on that a lot, self-reflection, and there's going to be a part of that today too. So during this time, I also decided that, as always, it's easy in our society, and I am guilty of this, and I've talked about this in many episodes, that's why I speak on it so much, that fulfilling your purpose is such an important thing, because it's easy to get caught up in the Joneses, whether it's buying more guitars, whether that's, for me, a new bike or a new this or a new that. For people, it could be a new car, a new home. It doesn't matter. But eventually, we become guilty of our consumerism, and we think that more money is going to solve more problems. So I took a promotion at my job that, while at the same time financially was a very big gain, a lot of gains to be had, most money I've ever made in my life. But you can kind of, not the most, but close. And if you were to look at the situation that I'm in now, if the Chris from today, right here, right now, in this Toned and Toneful episode, went back and talked to the one who was living 3 months ago, he'd say, Chris, I know that this promotion sounds like a good idea. I know it sounds like you're going to have more money, and therefore you could do more musical ideas, or therefore you could do more production stuff, and you can pay for a website, you can pay for this and pay for that. Be careful what you wish for. Once you get making enough money and you're so busy that you finally start to feel the stress, or you finally start to feel unhappy, it's easy for you to take that money and apply it to the wrong form of therapy. It takes a very, very disciplined person to say, okay, every cent I'm saving up and everything that I got extra that I got, I'm actually going to use it and just do guitar and just promote my music. And every minute, even when I'm beyond burned out from my work and really tired and stressed, don't worry, I'm going to use it to do music and my fitness to the highest level, and I'm never going to give that up. And you can imagine what else kind of climbs back in. Because you're starting to gain this money, you're starting to gain this perception of who you should be with this money, this status, this title, whatever's going on, the perfectionism, the little devil on, the shoulder of many an artist tapping, going, hey, guess what? You aren't living up to things exactly the way you said you would. And you hear it and you go, okay. But really, you're supposed to see it from the point where you understand that you're going to be stressed sometimes, and that life has cycles, and that you need to make time for things. That means yourself. And, the little devil on your shoulder is going to go, hey, you haven't done another Toned and Toneful episode. You're not providing value. You go, okay. A little more time passes by and it goes, oh, you haven't picked your guitar up in 2 days because you've worked shifts that were 13 hours each day and you haven't worked out. What are you doing? And at that point, it's really easy once you're under stress and you start having this kind of psychology of disbelief in yourself. It's really easy to start stepping towards, what does my diet matter? Does Toned and Toneful even make the difference that I think it makes? I got work to do. I'm busy. I can't be doing this. But before long, you realize, wow, this is the important thing I'm supposed to be doing. This is the way I'm supposed to be living. But it comes in and out. One day you see a guitar sitting on the side of your bed and you're like, I really need to get on that. And for some odd reason, you get the test of a lifetime. Your job goes, oh, by the way, I need you to work this much more, actually, because I need you to, cover this shift for somebody, or I need you to do this and someone's going to be not here at that time, so you need to do more work. You're lucky to be in the position you are. We really believe in you. And you take on that work and you work more. And a part of you's looking around going, now I haven't played guitar in 4 days. And you can see how that cycle starts eating you up. The moment you actually pick up a guitar is now 6 days into not playing, and you are now starting to shy away from where your skill level is because consistency is a skill. Consistency is key, and I can link that episode at the end. Again, you guys, please, if you can, share Toned and Toneful with your friends, your family, who you think it might help. Subscribe, I know I don't normally do this, but it's free for you guys. It doesn't cost you anything. And it really helps me get, the message of Toned and Toneful out there more often than not. And I'm really always looking for Toned and Toneful to help people. So this video specifically, me being kind of getting off track with something that's horribly important to me, very important, not horribly important, very important to me, and wanting it to be available for people who sometimes fall off the horse. This is really important. So share this with a friend if they've ever fallen off the horse and they just need to hear this story with me and talk about some of the things that I learned, and we'll keep getting back into it. So now you pick up your guitar, as we explained earlier. You haven't played for 6 days. In this case, this is me having not played for 6 days. Like, come on, man. And so I play, and you hear the notes that you're playing, and they're not as clear as they were before. Your mindset towards the instrument is a little more disconnected. The fluency of being able to bring what's in the heart and in the mind directly to your instrument is something that you work on every day. The friends who are your friends, when you talk to them and you speak to them and you nurture a relationship where you provide value, love, understanding, and safety for each other, that same thing happens with an instrument. When you have value, love, and safety and understanding of your instrument and you build that relationship, you feel comfortable on your certain guitar. You feel that with that instrument and with that format, you can express yourself to a way that even if you couldn't speak words, you could. That, to me, on guitar is one of the most important things, is to have that fluency of, like, when I play, it feels like the language coming out of my mouth. I don't want there to be a huge gap and disparity between who I am as a person and what my music sounds like. To me, that is the antithesis of what I stand for. I want people to genuinely connect to their instruments and write from their heart. There would be a lot more types of music in the world if we did that, actually. There'd be more types. And as a matter of fact, I think there'd be A lot of musics that would fall into no genre. Because think about it, if people were writing to their full, honest potential, no matter how many categories they mixed, no matter what they did, that's their envisionment of what they would want music to look like. And so in that particular case, the perfectionist is tapping on my shoulder. Chris, you don't sound like you used to. Wow, like, how come when you hear this track that you're playing over, how come you can't think of anything? How come you don't have anything to say? And that little devil is just going on you. And, just a side note, when in the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve ate from the fruit, it was the fruit of knowledge. What is the fruit of knowledge typically? What does knowledge allow us to do? It allows us to discern and know things. Now, when we discern and know things, what do we place upon it? Judgment. That is not our place. At least I believe that is not our place in this world as a human being and as someone who is living life to experience it. It is not our life. It's not our job to judge. It is our job to react. Wow, that went badly. How can I help that? Not judge yourself like I'm a bad person and that's why these bad things happen to me. A lot of people get caught in that cycle. And we could talk about that forever because it's such a sad thing to see that judgment, perfectionism is just a sub-level of that, more judgment. And I fell back into an old habit that I had worked well away from for a little while. I had worked back into a point where I felt that if my music wasn't perfect and what I offered to you guys wasn't immaculate, well, who am I? Who's Chris? There's all these other guys offering immaculate works of art. Why aren't you doing that? But at the same time, I couldn't understand how much more I had taken on. How much further away from the instrument I had become through the nature of some choices that I had made and through the nature of what I was dealing with. If you're moving, you had a dental surgery and you took a promotion at a job, it'd be fair to say that a decent amount of your life that you never knew time would need got taken up. You got taken up. And the one thing that I learned is the more you allow stress into your life, let's speak on stress for a second, you can't get out of that if you allow that particular formula to hit your body and your blood, like that cortisol level. Instead of being the no coffee guy, I started telling myself I'm tired and started drinking coffee constantly. I've been doing great for 9 months, no coffee. And now I'm drinking coffee every day again, hoping, this is going to help me stay awake. This is going to help me push through the day. And soon after I started drinking coffee like that, you become catabolic. That stress hormone being so high, you start losing muscle. So as I became catabolic, I started noticing, wow, my physique is not the same at that time. So what was my way of dealing with it? Oh, I need to put weight on. And being in my proper diet that I've had, my keto omnivore that I do, I broke out of it. These are all hard things to admit because to me, I keep very, very tight on my things 99% of the time. So I broke out of my diet. Now I'm eating bread again. I'm eating rice again. And I'm telling myself, this is to gain weight. But slowly but surely, oh, come on, Chris, you don't want like a little small piece of cake or you don't want this baked potato or mashed potato. And slowly as you have more and more simple carbs, you're back down to now you're eating a donut. So I went from last year of being on keto omnivore or carnivore, eating no sugars, feeling my best. Even when I got my tooth first gotten messed up. That really is what kept me together so long, was actually maintaining a proper diet and having a very, very high nutrition in micronutrients and very high nutrition in the overall fat and protein and macronutrient, map, so to speak. And we can talk more about that in future episodes about building better diets and talking more about what I've learned about dieting over time. But to make things simple, it's mid-June. Now I'm drinking coffee again, and I'm eating a bunch of sugar, and it's at the point where now I can't sleep at night. So now I'm at this point where my body is in a very stressed state. So now it's like, oh, what's wrong with a hit or two of weed? This is just to chill out and go to bed. A lot of people do this. It's okay. A lot of other people do this. That might be okay for them. But when we use that for why we're doing something, a lot of other people, my gosh, that almost makes me mad at myself, because I'm one of those people who really, really firmly believes in the idea that when you do something, you do it for what works for you in your life. I'm not saying we'll never have to experiment. Do I think that everyone should try the different things in life? Sure. Do I think that everyone should get drunk one time to the point that they throw up? Of course. You have to just learn what that is. Do I think that you should do that all the time or make it a lifestyle? No. But if you don't have that experience in your book and all your experience is just everything outside of that, one day if you ever do decide to take on alcohol, maybe you'll be too much because you don't have the understanding of how powerful of a drug that could be. Do I think that everyone maybe should smoke at some point in their life if it's right for them and what they feel they want to do, or use a cannabis product like an edible? Sure. Do it. But you have to remember that under the circumstance, that for most of us, it actually isn't the right thing to do. For certain people, maybe they do have ailments and they do have particular mindsets where it very much benefits from that. But there's a difference between benefiting from things as a medicine and using them until they're a toxic, you're intoxicated with them. They're a toxicant at that point. And so, again, mid-June, now I'm eating candy. My diet's all messed up. I'm starting to get like just stomach aches, headaches, like weird little ailments that I haven't had in a very long time. And then now I'm smoking a little bit before I go to bed because a lot of people do it, and I need to rest before my work, which is not wrong. But what did I allow, and what do you see as the story of this? I went from April on being my full everything perfect, just trying to make sure that I heal up really good from my dental work, to now it's mid-June and I'm smoking, drinking coffee, I'm eating off my diet, and I don't feel right. And I wake up every day not feeling right. Not because of judgment or I have to do my diet, but because every reason that I did the diet, every reason that I stopped smoking, and every reason that I stopped drinking coffee, every one of those things was happening again. It was like I was back in my own personal hell that I reset up. And guess what? Plagued with being a perfectionist again, and plagued with the mindset and the fear of, should I use digital instruments? Should I use a tube amp? And almost completely not able to recognize who I was anymore. Everything was a question. I didn't have a connection to my mindset the way that I did. I didn't feel my connection to God the way that I was before. And again, from my standpoint, yours could be the universe, yours could be Buddha, yours could be anything. What I'm saying is a connection that you find to spirituality, basically, where you can put your faith and your focus in, so it allows you to let the stress go so you can actually be yourself. Because the real you doesn't come out until you're relaxed. And that's one of the biggest reasons that I put a lot of effort with my team at work to make them very relaxed, or make people very relaxed around me. Because when they're relaxed, I see the true them. And I can like or dislike that. That's I'm a human being. I have preferences too. But what you'll notice is when you see somebody for what they really are, and you kind of have an idea, you're going to be able to finally know that's who they are, rather than kind of guessing all the time, is this person like this or like that? They seem like this, but I'm not sure. But that same thing applies to yourself. Will you be able to know yourself, and will you be able to see yourself if you're the kind of person who's always going off in a way where you're allowing stress, you're allowing your worst habits to be your leading points? You're allowing your worst habits to be your leading points. So now I'm following the questions that perfectionism is giving me. Why would you even rebuttal questions that perfectionism has? Because the quote still stands true to this day. If it's better to move forward imperfectly than it is to stand still in perfection. There is one thing to be encapsulated in a moment of your life, or what you think is the best, or what you aim to be is the best. Like there's this vision and you're like, until I get here, everything is nothing. And there's also a side of life where you can easily say to yourself, wait a moment. I am to do these things, and I am to carry forward the mission and the gift that I was given of life until I figure these things out. Now we're talking. Until I figure these things out, I will keep following what feels right. I'll keep following what makes sense and what is working. And when I say what feels right, it isn't, oh, well, I got high and I fell asleep, so that means it's good. And then I just keep smoking and keep resting. No. Or I keep drinking because there's pain in my life. And when I drank, the pain went away. So I'm going to follow that. No, I'm not talking about what feels right. I'm talking about what feels right. When you conquer a bad habit that you have and you go, you know what? I know I didn't need that. Thank you. Thank you to me for dealing with that. You know, that feeling you get, or you get like, you know, a hard piece of music and you're learning it on your instrument, you know, you're shredding through it on a guitar and you're like, yo, man, this economy picking's like pretty hard, but I just knocked it out. And now I got some awe-inspiring chops that were well-earned and that don't come from a fake place. They don't come from faking it till you make it. It came from passing maybe a plateau you have, passing a hard point in your playing that the synapses in your brain have a harder time wiring. That movement, that sound, or that rhythm. So I learned a lot about stress. And I started learning a lot about not being on your path and having more money than I needed. I started spending money foolishly. I would buy things that I didn't need just to make the moment feel better. Instead of buying one pair of shoes, I'm going to buy two. Going out to denim stores and buying jeans that are in, you know, any of you guys who are big fans of things like Ironheart and big fans of things like Momotaro and things like that. Going out and buying jeans that are $500 and $600. To feel good about myself and to feel fulfilled because I hated my work. And when I had free time, I wanted to go do other things because my work had gotten me stressed to the point and had gotten me to a level where, since I was picking up guitar so much less often, I didn't believe in guitar at the minute. And I say at the minute because we all have those moments where we're like, I don't know. And the next day you wake up and you're like, I should be playing again. And that's me every day because I love music. It's never going to go away. But that little questioning voice that came in the background needed to be addressed. So I started actually getting back on guitar. Started playing and going, you know what? As I get on here and I'm doing it every day and playing my beloved Tom Anderson Lil Angel every day. I nicknamed her Dirty Diana. But every time I was playing, I felt more complete. I felt more, even if I went to work and I was like not liking what I was dealing with, I could still hold on to the notes that I made that day. I could still hold on to that melody that now, when I hear a song happening at work, I can hear this melody. Or when I hear something, it's translating to what it would be on the guitar again. That is horribly important. If we can't get around that, if you can't close your eyes and imagine where something is on your instrument, I recommend you just build up that part of it, whether it's you singing and then trying to copy the exact thing on guitar, or whether it's pushing your limits to do the craziest thing. Take a phrase you know and play it faster than you can handle it. Play it really fast to the point where it's sloppy, and then do that 100 times. And then realizing that eventually the fastest speed can be put under control. Or realizing that at the end of this, the stress that you're feeling is the stress that you allow yourself to feel. You have to understand that when that feeling comes up, it's outside you. Feelings are things that pass by. And a lot of us, for some odd reason, we subscribe to the idea that I have to grab it and pull it in and feel it to the fullest extent. We subscribe to the mindset that we have, like, though there's pain right there, I better grab it and just feel pain. Oh my God, there's stress right here. I better grab it and stress up. Rather than going, on the other side, there's gratefulness that I'm alive and that I'm earning the money that I'm earning so I could work towards music. And if I could keep my mind in that mindset, I would be making investments on a website for this, or I would be making investments for, the next instrument that I'll need to maybe make a particular song. You would be investing in, hey, there's someone I want to have do drum tracks. I'm going to pay them for this. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. You would make that investment. How would you not if you really took gratefulness in? Instead of just choosing like these 3 other feelings that are passing by that, like, say for example, gratefulness is like a nice like tan color, or like a very neutral color, like a black, white, tan, gray, and these ones over here are like sparkling, like disco balls. It's easy to get caught by the disco ball of just like stress, anxiety, like, and perfectionism and anxiety and all the feelings that could show up that you easily want to correlate to, but rather than going, I could be grateful. Like when I rode my bike on the street, I wasn't walking. I saw people looking at me thinking, oh, that guy's cool. Like, he's riding a bike. He's staying fit. He looks fit. That's cool. Why don't you want to be the person that you need to be for yourself and choose gratefulness? Why not choose thoughtfulness? Hey, in my spare time, instead of focusing on that I'm stressed, I'm going to listen to my favorite song or learn a cover of a song and go, hey, what can I learn from this to help me write my song better? Or what can I do today that fulfills me inside with art or for fitness or whatever? Hey, this bike ride I'm on, instead of riding and just going, I'm trudging home, how about I make an effort to make a great breathing pattern and ride perfectly and allow this to help me so that when I get home, I'm one step closer to fulfillment and being ready to do work, being ready to stay on my purpose, getting ready to make a keto meal and enjoy the health benefits of eating a diet that's correct for you. I firmly believe that very low carbohydrate to keto is what anyone could use. Anyone could benefit from it. But doing what's right for you is deceptively difficult. When we ask from the disposition, well, a lot of other people do this, works for them. All right, cool. Try something that works. Try something because you read about it and you know what it could do, and give it a couple tries. And if that doesn't work out for you, it's okay. But we need to be much more, aware when we're in states of really deep stress that your mind is going to channel towards the worst, the easiest, the quickest, and it will degrade faster than you know. I went from very good health, my hair looking really good, my skin looking really good in April, even though I had an infection, to mid-July, I'm breaking out all the time. My skin is starting to discolor at certain places, so I had to rework on that. And I had all sorts of little things going wrong because of the very poor diet choices I was making and the very high stress that I was putting my body under. And a lot of people degrade very quickly once they hit a state like that. I'm lucky that I focused on my health so much that I was able to backtrack some of that and go, Chris, what do we need to do? And it took 2 months through all of July and all of August to get to the point that I could kind of get myself together start playing music every day for the month of September, and get on a macro tracking plan again so I could really lock in everything that I needed that would be correct for me to be healthy, be happy, show up at work and have more energy, and be able to finish work and come home and work on music. Those all take time. Those all take effort. And to be honest with you guys, by mid-September, I was like, oh man, I'm like, Toned and Toneful, I'm really starting to miss it. Not kind of, but really miss Toned and Toneful. You guys, when I speak with you guys, it is from a point of pure compassion and a place of pure understanding from my life circumstances. I want you to be able to learn from me, or I want to be able to share what I have and someone else be able to go, I've been going through the same thing. And maybe be able to hear how they can self-reflect so they can come up with the right answers for their self. Because I don't believe that what I particularly might do in my situation might be perfect for another person. Is following the diet that I do and the practice regimen and the workout regimen I do great for someone who just became a parent? Maybe not, because there is not that kind of time. I'm a single guy who is on my own and I have my own time, and it's very different for me. Is what I'm doing maybe going to work for a person who has the time to play music and is in high school and is just finishing up their homework and getting stuff done? No, maybe not. Maybe the diet doesn't apply. Maybe the mindset doesn't apply at all yet. They just need to play instruments as long as they want every night and sleep for 4 hours and go to school the next day. And that's what makes them happy. And I'm there for that. But the real thing is that self-reflection helps you see what works for you. Self-reflection helps you see that when I'm under deep stress, what triggers got pushed that easily made me do things that are against my value system. That easily made you feel scarcity. Well, I have no time anyway, so what does this mean? I guess maybe I should not really worry about guitar because now that I have jobs like this, moving forward, I'm going to have even less time. Oh, heck no, bro. You best off figure out how to get another job, doggy. You best off figure out how to live with less so you can make sure that you have what's important in your life there for you if that's what matters. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be looking for the correct career for myself so that I can still work, take care of myself. I don't want to be anybody's burden, but at the same time, releasing this music is my life purpose. It's my life purpose. I will never give up. I might have mistakes that I've made. I might get off track, but I will never give up. And I encourage all of you to feel the same. I encourage all of you to love yourself the same. That given the right circumstance and that given the right situation, you will never give up. There's no reason to. There's so many great things going for you. There's so much love in this world and there's so much energy that you can pull from. That's gratefulness, happiness, your past experience of knowing that you're safe. The fact that you have a home and roof over your head with a nice computer to do anything you want to do. And the only mindset that you have to adhere to is, I'll get it done today. I'll get it done today. How wonderful is that? Most of us actually have that. So, in conclusion, be careful what you wish for. Having more doesn't make things better. Having more money and having more perceivable goods or, accessibility to things might not change the situation that you're in. Before you want to make more money, before you choose what your purpose is, or before you want to make more money, look at what your purpose is and choose it against that. Before you do the things that I did where you make a bunch of changes and you can't keep up with them, think about how those changes affect what your purpose is. If you can keep your purpose steady, the feeling of success and the feeling of personal happiness will push you forward no matter what. The people who keep on their purpose in a way that works for them typically have a bigger smile on their face than a person who goes against their purpose and against their will. That makes sense, right? Stress. Do not let stress become a thing that interrupts the pattern of your positive thinking. Remember that the feeling of stress is like an emotion. Someone tells you that an email is due in an hour. And you're like, crap, I didn't even know that that email would need to be written today. Now I'm dropping everything I'm doing and I'm making it so that this one thing will be the thing that I do. And it has to be done in an hour. You might as well just start writing it and just get it done and not worry about it, because you only have an hour, and within the hour they need it. So it doesn't matter. What are you going to really do? Sit around and worry about it, and then worry about it for an hour after, worry about it 3 hours after. Was it good enough? Was it this? Was it that? No. Do your work. And that same thing applies to your purpose. And here I would imagine it's artists, guitar players. Write that song. Get it out. Finish that work. Observe why maybe it's not right and go, next time in that same situation, I think I have a little bit of a battle plan for like how I like things. Move on. Life doesn't have to be stuck at a certain position just because you're feeling that it might be better to not or to do that. Just let it go. It's going to be what it's going to be. And if you really actually are about climbing the mountain, so say that on 25 million steps you take up the mountain, 1,000 of them your foot slipped. That's 1,000 almost failures. You almost died 1,000 times. But climbing up the whole mountain, the fact that it took so many steps, those 1,000 slip-ups are almost nothing in comparison as long as you're willing to do it. Who's the basketball player who makes the most points in the game? Typically the person who takes the most shots. But they usually, if you look at a lot of the averages of players who make the most points on teams, they typically in their team have the most missed shots. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And that same thing applies to me. And so that's what I've learned. That, Chris, you're going to do this. You love these things. You don't need to be sad. You don't need to be telling yourself you don't need this. You do need it. You do need Toned and Toneful. You do need your album to come out. And that is something that you guys need for yourselves. You need your message to get out there. You need your music to get out there. And to feel proud of it and to feel brave of what you need to do. To be alongside the music that you want to create and you want to have in this world. Again, guys, if you subscribe, please do. It costs you nothing. If you're still here, obviously the video was decent to you. Please share with anybody who's dealing with perfectionism at a standpoint that they're holding their self back. There's a few episodes on the channel on perfectionism. Again, guys, just want to get the message out there for those who are suffering in silence and musicians who are holding their self back because they believe that societal or personal pressures that they've made up matter more than following your purpose. I want to say thank you to you guys. I hope your week does well. And above all else, stay toned and toneful.